What's going on, box fans? Julian Williams with The Distance. I'm here to give you my top 5 Miguel Cotto matchups for this week, and today is my number 3. My number 5 was Miguel Cotto versus Kelson Pinto, and my number 4 is Miguel Cotto versus Alfonso Gomez, and on to my number 3. Now, we all know Miguel Cotto has a huge following out in New York, and New York is his place, Madison Square Garden. It sells out on the Puerto Rican Day Festival, which takes place, in June. And Miguel Cotto likes to fight on that weekend out in New York. So it brings a lot of fans and a lot of crowds. And I mean, a lot of people in the crowds and stuff. But Miguel Cotto, one year didn't fight. I believe it wasn't that year he didn't fight in that festival, but he had a huge fight in Madison Square Garden. My co-host from the 12th and final round, JR503JR, he was at this fight, and so was I. This matchup took place in 2006. It was Miguel Cotto versus Malignaggi. This was a great matchup because you have two fighters with a great, brilliant New York following. Malignaggi being the slick New York boxer, and Miguel Cotto being the Puerto Rican boxer, but he kind of made Madison Square Garden his home because he had a huge following out in New York. So it was a big fight up there, and I remember it was one of those fights I just had to see. I was up there visiting family up there, and I was able to see this fight from the audience and live. And it's actually probably the fourth or fifth boxing match I've ever been to, but it was huge. On to the fight, I remember early on in the fight, Miguel Cotto just proved his dominance. Miguel Cotto hit Malignaggi and was actually brutalizing. If you look at, Malignaggi's face was just swelled up and puffy, and you would think of the Margarito fight if you look at Malignaggi's face after that matchup. His face just swelled up, and that's how tough Miguel Cotto was before Margarito, and that's how much of a beast he was at 140. He went in there, and it was actually a bit close on some cards. Some people thought that Malignaggi was much closer than he was in this matchup, but he wasn't. He had, I believe it was 2 knockdowns, but man, you just saw pretty much the determination of Miguel Cotto in this matchup. It's one of those matchups you just leave the building in awe, because Malignaggi how it was with a lot of Miguel Cotto opponents was a lot of them didn't fight back after he hurt him. Cotto hits you with a body shot. The rest of the fight, you're gonna have like a Randall Bailey or Ricardo Torres or whoever else he fought at the time at 140 would all just back up and kind of it looked like they were afraid of Cotto, and Malignaggi was fighting back. So now this is the time where Cotto has to show his heart and determination. So even though Malignaggi doesn't have the best punching power, he's fighting back, and now Miguel Cotto has to do something about it. And Malignaggi's starting to win rounds in the mid rounds, so Cotto comes back in and he's coming strong as well, and he's walking through some of these shots. But Malignaggi, showing his boxing ability and stuff, and it was a tough fight, for Malignaggi, but you gotta give it to Malignaggi because he was fighting back. But Miguel Cotto broke his face. You can see like the right side of his face on the Tron just swelling up, and I had to make this my number 3 because it was very exciting to watch. Even though people saw it as a one-sided Cotto win, it was exciting to watch because now you have a fighter who, well, it's like this. He's already hurt. He's not going to knock him out, but he's fighting back. And and that's the story of the fight. The fact that Malignaggi was hurt by Cotto, but he was fighting back, and it may seem like I'm praising Malignaggi, but you gotta praise Cotto as well, because Cotto was, I think this was Cotto's last fight at 140, but Cotto was weight drained. A lot of people never took that in consideration in that fight, or took in consideration at 140 that Cotto was struggling to make that weight. But in 2006 he faced Paulie Malignaggi, who ended up becoming the future IBF light welterweight champion, and now he's fighting Juan Diaz again, but he ended up becoming an established name, if you ask me. And Miguel Cotto and Paulie Malignaggi had a great matchup against each other, and I gotta put this at number 3. Other than the fact that Paulie Malignaggi fought back, it was the fact that this matchup was very entertaining to watch, and this is what I based it on. Was the fact that this matchup it's one of those matchups that just gets better every time you watch it. But this is my number 3, Miguel Cotto versus Paulie Malignaggi. If you get a chance, just check out this matchup, because this matchup will not let you down. But anyway, that was my number 3 matchup. Thanks for watching. Peace.